then I bought Shenmue III out of nowhere. It was on sale, and I got it on Epic, playing it on the PC. And Shenmue, the original Shenmue, I still have vivid memories. So I used to walk to school from my house, obviously, every day to school, to junior high, Hillcrest in Edmonton. Super cold. I can remember those mornings like it was yesterday. These are so vivid memories. And I remember this one particular stretch. It was my least favorite stretch. I had to always walk down this back alley, and it funneled the wind. Like the wind chill in Edmonton could be like -40. So it's just unbelievable. And I never dressed properly. I'd never wear a hat or a toque or anything like that, a beanie. So my ears were just, I cannot believe my ears were not frostbitten ever. Like, it was just unbelievable. It was so cold. And I remember walking down this alleyway every day, and I would just think. I didn't have music. Like, that wasn't a thing really. You didn't carry around, you didn't have your phone or anything like that. So I would just have my thoughts, and I would just think about the games I want to play really badly. And I remember I've done this a couple times as a kid, but I remember praying that for me to at least live long enough to play the first Shenmue. I was like, please, I want to live. I want to play Shenmue. I was really looking forward to the first Shenmue game on the Dreamcast. I could not wait for it. It was really ahead of its time. It was really the first true open world game where there was a full day-night cycle and a very authentic Japanese village, and you could, stores would open and close, and NPCs would have routines and lifestyles and do things. And it never really got the credit I feel like it deserved, even though it was a big deal. The game itself didn't really catch on that well because it wasn't, I loved it at the time. And then the sequel came out for Xbox, and I played it there and finished that. It was a little bit of a slog to get through, but it was cool. And then, of course, as you know, Shenmue 3, a decade later, finally announced for the PlayStation 4 and PC. Very exciting news, but I wasn't really that excited. I was over, it had been so long since Shenmue 2. But it was cool to see Shenmue continue and see what happens. And I wasn't actually ever intending to buy it, but then it was so cheap that I was like, whatever, I'll pick it up. So I popped it in, and man, oh man, it's bad. Like, it is just, it's so Shenmue to a fault. Like, I know they're probably trying to appease fans and keep fans happy, but I think at a certain amount of time, you got to realize how dated your gameplay is and how dated everything is. And the opening to the game, I just don't have the patience for this stuff anymore, but like, it is just so underwhelming and so boring off the top. Like, you start out in this nice looking village, the visuals are nice, and it picks up where the Shenmue 2 left off a decade ago. So I forget everything, but there's a little bit of this shows you how little actually happens in these games story-wise. Like, they're long games, but nothing actually happens. And you can watch a recap video of the first two games so you can get caught up. Nothing happens in it. The whole recap is like a couple minutes long, and not a single thing happens. Like, all you need to know in that game is, like, if you played the first 2 minutes of the first Shenmue, what happens is your father is murdered by a guy with long hair, and then he disappears, and you are sent to find him. That's all you need to know. Nothing ever happens in Shenmue 1 or Shenmue 2. There's no story development. You almost catch him once, and then he gets away. That's all that happens. There's nothing really that happens other than that. And this is the third game now, and really no story has actually occurred that's worth talking about. And I'm actually a fan. Like, this is a former fan talking. But man, like, the opening bit, I played the game for probably 2 hours. And I was... At first, it was like, okay, your first thing is follow this girl you follow this girl around, and she's going to take you somewhere. So you follow her around, and then she's like, I got to go talk to so-and-so. And you're like, okay, so she leaves, and you got to go talk to this guy. So you go talk to this guy, and he's like, hey, come back tomorrow. I have someone that I want you to speak to. So you're like, okay. So you go back to your hut, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go back to the guy's house, talk to the guy, and he's like, hey, I need you to go speak to this guy over that works in the marketplace. He's going to tell you the information that you kind of need. And you're like, okay. So you go to the marketplace, you meet this guy, and he's like, hey, So the important thing that I need to tell you is that you need to speak to this lady that hangs clothing up across by the meadow. And I'm like, okay. So far I've been told to go speak to four or five people. And I'm like, please tell me the next person I speak to is actually going to tell me something. Go to the woman hanging clothes. She's like, oh, hey, glad to see you. I have something important to tell you. The important news is I need you to speak to my husband, but he's not here right now. Come back later on. And you're like, oh, okay. So then you wait longer at nighttime. The husband finally gets there. You go back to the store. You talk to him. Hey, Rio. I need you to go to see this guy. He works. He works at the arcade fair, and but he's kind of a shady character. But go talk to him. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I'm like, how long can someone just keep telling me to speak to someone like that? I don't understand how this gets past like several waves of playtesters. Did no one think like, hey guys, this is the worst starting to any video game of all time. Like, we have done nothing. All the player has done is been told to go speak to someone who will then tell them to speak to someone else who then tells them, like, it was almost a parody. I could not believe how many people that did that to me. I played it for a couple hours and I was just like, I'm not going to go back to this game. Like, I cannot believe that nothing has occurred that's even remotely interesting. If I was directing that game or writing that game, like, I would have done it so much differently. I first off would not have cared too much about the fans. I would be like, guys, get over it. It's the year 2020. We need to make this game exciting. We can't just copy what we did in the year 2000. Like, that's old gameplay. The Yakuza series exists. Like, we need to step it up. We need to do things better. We need to make it exciting. No one wants to just walk around talking to people. It was so boring, and I don't believe I'll ever go back to it, unfortunately. Even just things like the main theme song, like, for me, a main menu, when you first turn a video game on, and especially one with a legacy like Shenmue, it's like Metal Gear Solid or Final Fantasy or Grand Theft Auto, like these big names that people know about. You should make it a special event. Like, things should be special. You don't waste things like the theme song or the title screen or the first time you see a character. But this game wasted all of those moments. The main menu is so dumb. Like, it just shows you the menu. There's no kind of presentation to it. The main theme song of the game is not heard unless you just open up your journal. When you open up your journal to read your task list, it's just a random song that plays in your journal. Like, it's not even presented in a cool way. Your character is just there. Like, there's no like moment. There's no like really reveal. There's no revelation or it doesn't treat it with any kind of respect. It's just like, yeah, here we go. We're just going to continue on. And it's like not a special thing at all. Like, I would love to go back and redirect all that stuff and make it so much cooler, because I think fans, that's what people like. I just don't understand why that seems to be such a hard thing for people to grasp. But I don't know. It did well enough, I believe. I don't know if they're going to keep making them, but I thought it was a colossal disappointment. Hey, thank you very much for listening to this clip from my audio blog. If you've enjoyed that and want access to the full episode, head over to patreon.com/CooperBebo. I'm an actor, writer, and producer of film, television, and video games, and as such, I like to talk about all of those things as well. I post new episodes every week where I talk about anything and everything that I feel like, as well as updates on my projects I'm working on. It's a lot of fun. Would love to see you over there. If you know of any games I should play or something I should watch, just head over there and let me know. Thanks again. Bye.